Hey guys, welcome to another episode on the Ticket to Freedom Academy podcast. It's your host Sylvie, and today I'm here with my beloved Mommy T. I call her Mommy T because when I was in boarding school, she was my teacher, okay? And we used to call her Mommy T. So I've taken that all the way, even now in England, and she being in Cameroon, she's still my Mommy T. Will be my Mommy T forever. Mommy T is now doing amazing things. Listen, and I would like for her to give the women all this beautiful, gorgeous, expensive information for free. If you're listening, I want you to grab a cup of coffee, tea, water, whatever it is that you drink, sit down, become educated, empowered, and inspired. Hey, Mommy T. Good
Hello, baby.
morning to you.
Good morning, Sylvie. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Mommy T. Yourself?
Oh, I'm doing well, thank you. I am very grateful and appreciative that I'm coming back to this forum. I think it implies that our last conversation, it had some value.
It did.
So, yeah, if I can remember, it was talking about young people, how they manage their time and how they can make good of the 24 hours that God gives them every day, right?
Right.
And I'm glad that maybe some years ago, if we had had this conversation while you were back in secondary school, it wouldn't have made much sense to you. But today, it has not only made sense to you, it has also influenced your life in a way that you believe that others can be made better if they pursue that course. So, to me, your success is my success story because, your history cannot be written without my name involved in it. So, it's my
Mm-hmm.
privilege. Yeah. It's my privilege. I feel fulfilled that having passed our paths, having crossed each other, has meant something to you earlier, and it is meaning something to me later in my life. So it's a beautiful thing. Thank you very much for having me.
Oh, wow. Talk about our last podcast, on the Young and Independent platform, which is a platform where I talk about all things mindset change and money making for young people. Um, yesterday evening, one young girl came across the highlights of that conversation with you, and she sent me a message inbox on Instagram to say, please, can I have the link to the full conversation just
Beautiful.
yesterday? Because
Beautiful.
it was so empowering. I want to watch all of it. And I was like, yes, I love this.
That is
And,
a great.
coincidentally, you're here today talking to the women on the Ticket to Freedom Academy podcast. And the reason why I wanted to bring you on, Mommy T, is because, you know, like you say, my history cannot really be written without you being a part of it. And it makes even more sense now that I am, more mature, more exposed. We can have those conversations in a way that make me transformed, because you know how it is that you have to be ready sometimes for something to sink deep, for something to have a meaning in your life, for something to have an
Mm,
impact in your life.
mm.
I know that you have a lot of wisdom, you have a lot of experience, and the way you break it down is so easy to understand. And there's something you said last time during our conversation, which is about, what you did. And you were talking about young people who keep complaining that the government is not doing this, the education system is not so good. And you said, but listen, what are you doing hands on that can empower you financially? What are you doing? And you said you started making fascinators just by watching on YouTube. And I was like, wait a minute. And off cam, you just told me that you are now being bombarded with more orders than you can fulfill. And I was like, yes, I want you to tell women.
That is a
I want
fact.
you to, I want you to tell women who are listening to you right now, who are wondering, what should I do with my life? Because in my book, How to Be an A Plus Mom, Partner, and Entrepreneur, the introduction of that book just actually tells the story of women in India alone, because that's the data I found. And in that book, women in India, 419 women on an average kill themselves every day. And there were a couple of reasons why. And one of them was that they didn't have a sense of purpose, neither did they have financial strength. And that's why I created this podcast, because I want women to feel a sense of purpose and to have financial strength. And Claire Booth, she said something. She said, "A woman's only security is some money of her own. Is some money of her own." I want you today, Mommy T, to please, throughout our conversation, give us the knowledge, give us the mindset that we need as women, not only to have our sense or to find our purpose, but also to leverage our purpose, our skill sets, our talents, and everything else that's happening around us to have that liberty in terms of doing what we love and in terms of earning money in order to have that security of our own. So, the first thing I would like to start with as a question is, well, I started off by saying that you were my teacher,
Yeah.
because a lot of women don't understand that they have a strength in terms of doing other things. Most of them feel like they're stuck. I want you to go from there in terms of just give us a backdrop of your background so that we can get to understand a bit more about you, your personality, and then go on to tell us some of the things that you're doing now and how other women can benefit from your experiences in order to jump on the bandwagon.
Okay. Thank you very much. As usual, I am excited to talk about my experiences. Do you know why? Because it is a success story. And
Yes.
it has not become a success story because I have waited for time to pass. No, time has only been one of the resources that I have added to others to ensure that I transform my history into a beautiful story. Now, you have said a few things already. One of the
Right.
principal, one of the one of the principal things that you've said, which is true, is the fact that you could have been born ready. You understand? Sorry, you may have been
Right.
born prepared. You understand? But you need to get
Right.
ready. You need to get ready.
Mm.
That is why there would be a point where people may say things and you just keep piling, or it will just lie there in the back burner of your life, cooking, marinating slowly until you decide that I am ready.
That
Now,
is
how do I
correct.
know that we were born prepared? We were born prepared because the Bible makes us to understand that God created us and creation was complete,
Mm.
finished. You understand?
Right.
Now, there is the aspect of getting ready, which is personal because we were prepared. I mean, we came complete.
Mm.
So, when you put your hand on that plow, it means that you are ready. And you do not
Mm.
come to that place of readiness like a tabula rasa. You do not come as a blank slate. You come with a backlog of information, of data, of experiences, of wisdom. You come in with a lot of things, academic qualifications at times. But your readiness is that thing that strings up those individual items. It's like a rosary
Mm.
bead. The string in
Right.
between now ties everything together, and then it
Right.
makes sense or better sense to you.
Coach.
You understand? Life
Right.
is interesting. Now, I graduated as a teacher. I did a professional education course in the University of Nigeria. So that ordained me a teacher. It is likely, and it is even more interesting because I did not go to the university to do a degree course in teaching.
Mm.
Circumstances pushed me there. That would be a story for another day. It's an interesting story. Circumstances pushed me there, and I was pushed the wall, and the only wall that I found there was a wall of becoming a teacher. And I accepted, I took it. I mean, because I found
Mm.
no other choice. But then In hindsight, I understand that life was preparing me. It was like I was in that pot being marinated, going into the oven. I mean, the ingredients were coming in and everything was lining up for the day that, of course, my unfolding will reveal itself. So I
Right.
taught, I mean, post university, I taught for 12 years. 4 of those years, I was actually pedagogic supervisor of schools. 2 of those years, I was in Repacor. 1 year or a few months, I was in CK. And my first 2 initial years, I taught in Our Lady of Lords College. And through those years, the experiences that I gathered, they were not only mind blowing but humbling because it made me a better learner. I learned to
Right.
learn by being a teacher to young
Mm.
people. Yes. And I think that most people ask me why you don't age. I mean, your physical appearance does not match your biological age. The
I
reason is
agree.
simple. Yeah, it is simple. I exposed myself to learning from young people. And so it has kept my mind um
Mhm.
it has kept my mind porous to learning. Yeah, so I would say that I gained that grace. Now for 12, just think about it. I started my career as a teacher with the Catholic Mission, and I'm sure my initial salary was something like 50,000. 50,000 francs. And maybe 12 years later, I'm not sure I had reached 100,000. I don't think so. Yes. But in all those years, I knew that there was a possibility of me doing something better, of becoming better, of knowing better so that I can have better. But
Right.
I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. Now, when it comes to trading, I grew up in a home where my mother was a housewife unto death. She could do petty trading, she farmed, and she was a full-time mom. My father was a civil servant, but my father was that man who believed that if his children go to the streets, maybe to do some form of trade, they are exposed. And so he didn't want us on the streets on any terms. But my mom prepared puff puff, gâteau, fish roll in her kitchen, and we sold it in front of our house. So I already knew that you could transform 10 francs to 15 francs to 20 francs. But of course, I didn't have the privilege. Like I knew, somehow I always knew that those people who go about selling, they had their privilege. They gain street knowledge, they make more money and all of that. But my father was too strict for all of that. Secondary school, my mother had a bar, a store kind of a thing attached to our house. So once in a while, I pop in there under very strict supervision because, of course, my father don't want the children to be exposed, especially his daughters. But
Exactly.
eventually, when I went to the university in Nigeria, of course, you cannot go through Nigeria without being contaminated by the business spirit in that country. You cannot be. So my cousin and I, Damari, she is in France. When we were in Nigeria, we used to, when we come home, we buy the things that are not in Nigeria and we go back to Nigeria and we sell. You see, yeah. And the important thing, why we used to do that was, first of all, as money for our subsistence was very small, so we could make profit. And then secondly, it was better to take in goods in Nigeria, sell in Naira. It would be better than just exchanging. I mean, the foreign exchange, the balance would have been better for you to sell goods and have money. I mean,
Right.
those are principles of finance that we did not even know. But because our environment had so infused us, we could use those principles without even knowing how they impacted us. We could buy
Right.
things in this country for 500 francs and sell them at the time for 1,000 naira. And maybe 1,000 naira would have been something like 5,000 francs, so at 10 times the cost. So, of course, and we could go. I was in the habit of traveling across Nigeria because my siblings were across Nigeria, Lagos, Ibadan. So every time I go to Lagos, I'll buy earrings and stuff like that, and I'll come back to sell. But now, what happened was this: when I got back to this country, I did not quite stop trading. But what happened? I thought that I had reached the point where I would get married post university. And you understand the misconception that like marriage takes the place of many other things in one's life. And I believe that that is a trap for most women. They lose their sense of direction and purpose to marriage. I mean, I am not watering down the importance or the relevance of marriage in the life of a woman, but I am thinking about the compatibility of marriage with other things, or how marriage or associations or partnerships can become better if you pursue it with in accompaniment with the things that you like, the things that
Yeah.
give you pleasure, or the things that make you a better person.
Right.
Fast forward 12 years post my teacher career. I still teach, though not in a formal setting. I mean, like I do coaching, I do mentoring and all of that. I do trainings and all of that. But when I left teaching, I picked up a job that pays me like, let me just say, eventually, when I really started my business, I was earning like 10 times what I used to earn as a teacher. That is the irony of it. So it is beautiful because it is not financial hardship that got me into business. I would say this here, and I say it, and I've said it in many other forums, and I'll keep on saying it. Doing business is a unique expression of yourself in a way that, irrespective of how much money you have, you understand, if you do not do business, you always have that ache. There will be this itch in your mind that tells you that there is more that I can do. And it is
Right.
beautiful because money in this instance is not the in thing, it is the expression of who you are. It is living your purpose. That is it. Because had it been that money was the in thing in establishing the businesses that I have established, I wouldn't have gone into this business because I started this business in the heart of the crisis, pre-COVID. There were times in this Bamenda where I am, where because of the insurgents, because of the war that is going on, we were hemmed in the house for 2 months. And you see how confinement builds up restlessness in you, and you start asking yourself, what else can I do? It is not like it's not like in those 2 months we were not paid. I was being paid. I was being rewarded, but I was not leaving the house. And so I asked myself, could this just be it? Could this be all? I mean, there has to be something more. You know, when I was younger, if I mean, I knew, like, especially my university days, at the beginning of the year, I take a calendar and I mark all the public holidays. Do you know why? Because I plan on sleeping longer on those days. I plan on watching movies on those days. I plan on traveling and taking long weekends on those days. But as I grew older, I mean, time became such a scarce resource that I could, I mean, there were nights that I would not sleep just because I needed to build myself. So, this is it. I grew up from one stage to the other. But anybody at all can shorten their learning curve if they have people who have gone ahead of them. If they have people whom they can look up to as models, as mentors, and as coaches like you are doing. And so you are doing such a fabulous work. The last time I spoke with you and you mentioned the streams of income that you had, I was humbled. I was like, okay, this is my student. You know, you are the second student of mine from whom I'll be learning. I learned from you. And even when I do not mention, I sit behind and I note, I say, yes, this should be a pace setter to young people. I mean, if I talk now to young people, they say, you're a mother, you have lived your life, you have made your errors. Let us live our lives and make our errors. Then we are going to also catch up like you are catching up. But not everybody was born to be a late bloomer. I have contemporaries, I have contemporaries who are amazed at where I get the energy from, where I get the focus from, where do I get the drive, what pushes me, because to them, complacency has set in and they are happy the way they are. They believe that they have plateaued and they are downhill. I so I am always, well, I may not mention always, but when I look at your energy and I look at your drive and I see how you are pushing the force with which you are coming like a tornado, I'm like, young people, watch out. I mean, you may be swept in her wake. So for a woman, irrespective of who you are, you can turn your life around in the twinkling of an eye. Some of us had to walk all those steps because we did not have mentors. We did not have role models. The internet was not as easy to access the way it is now. It needed maybe a geographical displacement to go see somebody who is doing something that you think you can also try. But what happens today? In a click, you are somewhere in England and I am far here in Bamenda, and we are having this conversation in real time.
Yep.
So, what is whose complaint or reason for not doing what, or excuse for not doing something? Is it that you do not feel that there is more that you can do? Is it that you cannot get an Android phone? Is it that you do not have data? What is your excuse? Your excuse has to be very serious. You know, this morning I was thinking about the richest people that I know, whether the ones on the internet or the ones in my locality or in my neighborhood. And I concluded that all of them, they do one kind of business or the other. You know, I think people get it wrongly when they say that you cannot make money relying on your salary. We get it wrongly. And most people, they rush to the conclusion that not everybody can be a businessman. Not everybody is a businessman. The problem is that they have not accepted that they are business people. And secondly, they have not looked into making profit from the businesses that they do. Some people are in the business of gossip. They carry information around. Those are business people, but what do they make from it? Some people are in the business of judging and condemning others. They are in a business. You see, no, that's true. Some people are just in the business of criticism, but they are civil servants. They think that the money that they are making from the government is enough. But if you are a gossip, there is a likelihood that you could be a communicator, and you can make proceeds from being a communicator. You understand? And I look at it and I tell myself that the government that pays you is in business. You are offering services to the government and the government pays you. So you are working in somebody else's business. And you already know the ropes of business because you get up and you have to be on your desk at 7:30. Why can't you put that energy into your personal business? Because the government will only give you a raise when it feels like or when it is making much more profits. But then you can decide that, okay, this year I'm making a profit of 50,000. I want to upgrade to 500,000 next year. And you start asking yourself, what are the inputs that I have to implement to ensure that I land on that output of 100,000? So it brings you back to you. Some people say, no, yes, I work with the government, but I can do a few consultancies. So that you are a consultant, you are doing a business. So everybody, whether you are a farmer, you are a pastor, you are you are offering community services. If you want to transform it into a business so that you can live life on your terms, you are free. I'm sure I've spoken to you. I usually get carried away when a lot has come to me through the renewing of my mind.
Let me say hallelujah.
Amen.
We will only be transformed by the renewal of our minds. That's where transformation comes. It's biblical. Yeah.
It is that do not be ye not
Conform.
conformed to this world. You cannot live your life on the terms of looking at what who does, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. The most beautiful thing about that verse is what comes after to
After.
explain why you should do that. So that you should know the acceptable, number one, you should know the good, number two, and number three, you should know the perfect will of God for your life. So
Ah,
there is an acceptable. Most people are running on the acceptable, which is autopilot. Yeah, I get up, I go to work, I bathe, I breathe the air that everybody breathes. The rain falls on my farm, it falls on everybody's farm. Then there is a good, which is an upgrade, and then there is a high definition, of course, which is the perfect will of God, and it has to go through this three stages to land practice. But what does it take? A perpetual renewing of your mind. Because of course, how our minds are like an open vessel. Things just keep dropping. I mean, you perceive things through your senses and it keeps dropping. But you have the duty, the responsibility of editing what gets into your mind. You keep
oh my God.
renewing. You keep renewing. You I mean, you pick out what should not be there. And it is learning that helps you unlearn. If you leave your mind life fallow, then of course rubbish keeps piling in it. But then as you learn, it takes away the ignorance, it keeps taking off the filth, it takes away things which do not align with that perfect will of God. So
Mommy T.
learning, yes,
Mommy
Pepito.
T. Oh my God. You see, when I'm having a conversation with you, I'm so fired up. You just
Yeah.
dropping the golden nuggets, like you're blazing with wisdom. I mean, you've said so many things that I just want to unpack one after the other. I will spend an entire day here, but you've said something very powerful. It is continuous learning that makes you to unlearn what doesn't serve you
Yeah.
and is not in accordance with that perfect will of God.
Yeah.
Word
That
for
is
me,
that is it.
up till now, that's the
That is it.
word. Recently, I was studying to do UK theory test. That test, I've been driving since I was 20. I mean, I'm 33 now, so 13 years. But I've never driven in this country, and I need to because it's time for me to get a car, and it's going to make my life much easier. And it's also going to help for the kids as well, their social life and everything. And so I decided that, you know what, I need to take care of this phobia because when I see, and the reason why is because they don't drive on the is it the left or the right? In fact, they don't drive on the same side as
You
in
drive on the right side, you drive on the left.
yeah, they don't drive on the left side as in other countries where I've driven before. And I had to take the theory test, Mommy T. And that process was a whole unlearning of a lot of things that I've learned as a driver in Africa. There are many questions that I got wrong, not because they were wrong per se, but because in the context in which I find myself, in the perfect will of the UK government and in the safety of their road users, that information
It
that I
is
had
wrong.
is irrelevant, is wrong. So wrong that it could literally kill another individual. So I had to unlearn them in order to adapt to this new place in which I find myself, in order to pass my test, in order to get my driving license, in order to improve my life and do the perfect will of God for my life. So it's been a whole process. And what you said hits me between the eyes because I've had to unlearn under
Yeah.
difficult circumstances. And it's
Yeah.
something that I wanted to resist in the first place. And I believe that a lot of us go through this. We try to resist. We try to
I can
resist because,
imagine.
yeah, because there's that human ego. Like, I know this thing. Why are these people trying to make me do this way? Why is Mommy T saying this? Why is Sylvie saying that? People try to resist to stick to what they know, to stick to what they're comfortable with. But how does that
Yeah,
serve us? How does that
it
serve
doesn't.
us? When you
It doesn't.
resist the perfect will of God for your life, what are you counting on?
And the unfortunate thing is that there are people who have sought the will of God for their lives forever. And they'll keep saying that, how come it's easy for some people to just know the will of God for them and for their lives, and when it comes to them, they are completely lost? It is easy. We live the will of God every day. We live it. We live it. I mean, and I feel that when you, the unfortunate thing about that particular scripture is that most people use it to frighten others rather than looking through it with transparency. The will of God is not hard. It's not like God says that you should eat a chook. The will of God is that you must eat a chook today. It's not like sorcery. It's not like soothsaying. No. No, no, no. Be transformed. That knowledge that sits in you and stays in you is the knowledge that works for you. Because we all know what is good, isn't it? We know what is acceptable and we know what is perfect. When things fall in place, things don't fall in place from the sky. This is
Nope.
true good. From acceptable to, in fact, from bad to acceptable to good. So it is an upgrade. It's like the more information, the more knowledge, and more wisdom that falls in, it throws more light. And what happens? It expels the darkness. So that is what we say, aha. It does not come, it's more than just an insight. So most people, they think that it is hard. No, it is because they are stuck. But if you expose your mind to learning, you've just spoken about driving. Driving in this country to me was an effort. Until at one point, my elder brother told me that, see, if you will not drive a car, don't go to another driving school. What is the problem with you? How can you be this afraid of driving? And when I'm driving to them, like, wait, what was my problem? So driving for let me tell you, in fact, I learned to drive. It's after the first time that I started driving. My elder brother warned me that let me never hear again that I go to a driving school. So I can imagine, now that you said it, I imagine if I need to go back and start driving with the steering wheel on the right side. But what happens is that if I just stay in my home like this and only think about the process, I will never move. But if I expose myself to learning, then I'll start editing the things and I say, okay, this thing that I thought was, now it has to be like this. You understand? And I believe that there is a way that we compartmentalize knowledge. We compartmentalize knowledge in our minds in a way that is why there are people who can drive very well in the UK and other countries, and when they come home, they drive very well. So they can, whether the steering wheel is on the right or on the left, adapt in a split second. That is learning. Is learning and using that knowledge in its context. So that is why, even if you have a PhD, if you have a PhD in rock science, you can come back and say, okay, how can my PhD in rocket science or whatever, black physics or yellow chemistry, how can it help me to cook a perfect pot of eru? And you start thinking about processes and procedures that you used in rocket science, and you implement it in the cooking of eru. So when some people say that they are too qualified to start learning a trade or to start following their passion or to start following a path that will give them financial freedom, I am amazed. If learning does not teach you how to learn, then it is not learning. That is the only reason why we go to school. We go to school to learn how to learn. Without which, there are people who have never seen the four walls of the classroom and they are doing wonders. So school only, that's true. School only enhances how we think and how we learn. It inspects, it investigates how we learn. What kind of a learner am I? It just gives you an environment which kind of incites you and excites you. That's what schooling is. So there is nothing that anybody will want to learn that they cannot learn. You may wait until you are desperate. Now, what I tell most people who come to me is this: is it the push or the pull factor? Which is stronger? What is pushing you? Is it stronger than what is pulling you? Because what is pushing you, if it takes off the push, then you can relent. But if you are the one being pulled, you are not stopping until you get to the goal. So if you just want to escape from poverty, there is a day you ask yourself, after all, what do rich people not die? That is enough reason for you. I mean, that's enough justification for you to stop. Yes. You can start counting all the rich people in your village, in your town, or in your country who died without, and they did not go with anything. They went the way they came. That is enough reason for you to say, I'm not doing this thing again, I've had enough. But if you think that, okay, first of all, this is my purpose. This is what I should be doing. I have gifts and talents and skills and abilities that are lying fallow, and they are frustrating me. I need to put this thing together to do something with it. I need to improve the lives of others. I need to share my ingenuity with others. I need to live this life different than I met it. Those are your push factors. They are coming from within. They cannot give you rest. So if you are a woman and you think that my life is comfortable, I have a good job, or I have a good partner, or I have a good husband, or I have my children or somebody, if they are taking good care of you and you feel that I can always depend on them, that is fine. But then think about, what rent are you paying to this world for existing here? What value are you creating? How are you making the lives of others better? It comes down to it. It comes down to that. How are you affecting your environment? Would you want to just go through life and come out on the other side without life knowing that you came here? What impact are you creating? What legacy are you leaving behind for the younger people? Most of us just think only about our families. Okay, the foundation that I've put down for my children is enough. Even if I'm not here for 100 years, they'll still have, my great-grandchildren have something to. What of the people who are not of your blood lineage? What are you leaving behind for them? So if you let's look at the people we know on a global scale who have money. Why do you think they are reinvesting? These people, how many children do they have? I mean, those who even have children, how many biological family members do they have?
Oprah Winfrey, she doesn't have any child.
Good. So we realize that it is not only for them. One of the things that keeps us down is the fact that we think only about me, mine, and myself, my children, my husband, my brother, my sister. What about your community? What about your nation? What about your continent? What about the world? It starts from you. I believe that is one of the problems that gives people this feeling of contentment. They are fine. And yet life is beyond you. Your life should oscillate around you and spread as far. The impact that you are creating should spread as far as it can go. I am working from a computer. I will never see Bill Gates. I never met Steve Jobs. And yet, if I had all the money in the world and I did not have this piece of equipment, how would we have been having this conversation?
Not possible.
So far, not possible. So we always need to look beyond the borders of ourselves, to look beyond where our eyes can take us. If we think that we can go beyond that place, then we will be curious to know what else we can do. whether as women or whether as humans.
Mommy T, in that regard, what you've just said, I'd like to ask you a question that has been on my heart. Um, so quite a few women, I asked a question in a group with nearly like 500,000 people. I said, women, do you work? And if no, why? Why don't you work? Most of the answers I got was, it's the man's responsibility to take care of the woman. Why should I work? I've got the children. Others said that, oh, why would I? If my husband gives me everything, what's the need for me to work? What's the need for me to earn my own money? Uh, um, the woman has no business, working, earning money. I was actually taken aback by some of the comments, and then I looked at myself like, am I a strange woman? But I don't think so, because I think we share the same ideology and philosophy. What would you say to women who feel like it is none of their business to try and earn their own money? What would you say to such women?
Now, the first thing I would love to ask them is, where was it written? Where did they get the blueprint of that statement from? That's the first thing. To some people, it is embedded in their culture. You understand? To others, it is in their religion. Of course, religion is another kind of tradition. To some people, it has been handed down to them from their peers or from their family. And if we look at that particular mindset, it is so unfounded. Now, the perpetrators of a philosophy like that cannot be women. With all due respect to well-meaning men, I believe that men with good intentions feel that they can work hard enough to take care adequately of their women. Some of them, like I say, it is out of pure and good intentions. They feel that there should be some balance. While the woman stays at home to take care of the domestic duties and taking care of the children, I mean, the family, looking after the children is very important. A physical presence of a human being to take care of the children, best placed a parent. So they believe that in compensation for the enormous work that the woman is doing, they would go out and forage and bring the booty and take care of everything. Some men do it and some men do it well. That's the first thing. The second thing, I believe that some men would say the woman should stay at home while they go out to work in order to keep them submissive, one, and subservient, two. So that they can have some mental and maybe physical control over the women. Now, the third thing from a man's perspective is because he feels that the woman is weaker in all forms, and so he should actually do the work because he is protecting his weak woman. Now, because to me, all of these things, all of this particular line of thought is projected on a woman. I don't see, I mean, I grew up in a typical African home. There was never a point where my mother, who has never worked, encouraged me that I should not go to school or I should not work because a man will take care of me. I mean, this is a woman who has never signed her name in any office as a worker. But what she kept telling me was that your education is your first husband. If you ask any barefoot woman, that is what she would tell you. So I keep wondering where this crop of girls or women, where they came from. I mean, I'll be 50 this year, so I'm talking about women, our mothers of 50 years ago. That's how they groomed us, knowing that your education, and ultimately, because they knew that it's education that leads to a job, and ultimately, your job is your first husband. And why did they say that? Because they knew that you would need that financial independence.
That's right.
So, the question I'd like to ask women who feel that they shouldn't work because it is either their right to be taken care of by their husband, or it's a privilege of no. What I need them is that what do they do with their time? How can they account for 24 hours just sitting and running the home and waiting for a man to bring money? No. To run your home is your responsibility.
Oh
And
my
after
God.
that, I mean, is the routine not killing them? You run your home, your husband brings home the booty, you go do your nails. Let me ask them, that lady or that man to whom you go give your money to get your manicure, your pedicure, to get the makeover, are you thinking of what you are doing? If that person were not there to attend to your whims and caprices, to pamper you, to give you a treat, have you asked yourself where you will get vegetable if this woman in the market did not wash the vegetable and bring to the market for you to sell? If every woman had waited at home for their partners to pamper and spoil them and take care of everything that they need, sisters, how would your life been? There is only one word that comes to mind: impossible. So, unless you are a selfish person, and I need women to listen to this, unless you are a selfish, self centered person, you cannot leave your subsistence into the hands of one person or persons. Those people, they bring in that money because they are giving value to somebody and they are being rewarded. If they folded their hands and stayed home with you as you are, how will that money come in? So it's a matter of understanding that you are not just occupying space in this world. You were born to create value. And so, sisters, if you are in the business of doing charity, maybe you are in an organization that is non-profit. I have tried non-profit. I've tried giving out my value for free. And the experience I have is that it is not appreciated. When it is appreciated, even when I think that it is appreciated, it is not propagated, it is not proliferated, because the person who got this value does not know the value for it. But sisters, whatever talent you have, whatever gift you have, whatever abilities you have, whatever skills you've developed over time, ensure that you put these values to use in order to benefit other people, because your life is being made comfortable in quotes, because others are exchanging their value for the money that you are giving them. I don't know if I can put this any better. So it is a must. It is a human responsibility to be financially independent. As to what you do with the money that you get from your business or from the exchange of value, that is entirely another story. You could give it to your spouse or to your partner to give it back to you. That is fine. I mean, that is okay. But then what would have happened? You would have exchanged value for value. So when we stop looking at financial dependence, when we start as financial dependence, when we stop looking at financial independence not as a means of escaping desperation, or poverty, but as a means of building and dispensing of value, then we are all going to work towards that financial independence. I learned that from my example. Sylvie, I am the last in a family of five. I am the young of, well, of seven, two past. I am the youngest, I am the least educated, and I am the least in financial strength. And I could have, if I fold my hands even today like this, I'll eat every day of my life. I will take care of my family. They'll fuel my car. They'll pay for my holidays. That is financial dependence, right?
Yeah, it is.
And there will never be a day that anybody will get back to me to say, you haven't done too much, you know, work. No, 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 no. I can live off my parents' estates. I can't live off, I mean, because somehow I can become entitled and say, okay, I'm the last child. Currently, I don't have a job. Yes, I can be taking the rents and all the other benefits, and I will, and nobody will contest with me. But seated here, I manage my father's estates. I do not even, I mean, I don't have a mental review of the amount in the account because I know in the back of my mind that it is not my money. It is not. So if I rely on these other sources of income, what do I do with my ingenuity? What am I going to do with all this creativity that is popping out through my pores? Do I want to run mad? I mean, because there are days that I just come to my mind and it's like if I don't put pen to paper or if I don't go creating, my mind is bogged. Like I feel depressed.
Right.
So I wonder how these people who think that they should not work, they should just play house, play receptionist, play wife, play mother, which I respect. Those are all things that I do. I like doing and I have done. But there is that thing that carries your signature, right? It carries your logo, it carries your watermark, that it is only you who can do it. If you are not in that man's life today, another woman will come in and do exactly what you were doing. He will
Mm,
receive the family guest, he will give birth to children, he would collect, I
mm,
mean, he'll be giving money to take care of everything, to run the house and all of that. But your unique signature has nothing to do with those things that you are doing. Your unique signature is that persona in you that has specific things to do to meet the needs of specific people. So
mm,
unless a woman wants to go through this life unrecorded, to live a life that is not charted, would she say that financial freedom is not her thing?
mm.
That is what I believe.
Wow, mommy T. You know, wow, 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 wow. I mean, this conversation is so deep, so deep. It's like I've just taken a sponge and dipped it into a bowl of water, just soaking everything out. It's so powerful, so, so powerful. I mean, I asked a question recently to a young woman. I asked her that, are you free? So she's like, what do I mean by free? I was like, what is freedom to you? You know, what would be freedom to you, Mommy T? Because her answer was very shallow, very flaky. I thought, oh, if you don't know what freedom is, or what it means, or what it means to you, then I don't know how we're gonna have this conversation. So this podcast is called Ticket to Freedom. Ticket to freedom in the sense that you come here, you educate yourself through the stories, the learnings, the experiences, the wisdom of other women, You become empowered by the things that they have overpowered, which they share with you. And you become inspired because oftentimes, when until it is done, they say it is often so hard or impossible. If someone else has done it and you hear them, you hear their story, then you can become inspired to go on and try, and eventually you will do it.
Yeah.
What is freedom to you, Mommy T? And for me, freedom is the baseline of freedom is financial freedom based on my personal experiences. Maybe I'm wrong, but I believe that my experiences, like you said, that's my signature, that's what shaped me, that's what has put me in the path on which I am. And everything around me, the more I study, the more I unlearn, the more I learn new things, the more I talk to other people, the more I understand that freedom for me in my world and in the world of the women around me, based on my own personal experiences, is the baseline is financial freedom. Freedom to worship is based on your ability to take care of your least needs on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And for me, the baseline is just having shelter, food on the table, electricity, and all that. And you cannot do any of those things. Food is merry. Food is a party is good, and wine is merry. No, that's a Bible verse. Money answered all things.
Mhm.
So that's a conversation I had. It was kind of a debate because this person did not agree with me. So I want to find out from you, what is freedom to you as a woman, and how can other women relate to your freedom?
Okay. Thank you very much, Sylvie. That's a very interesting question. Okay. Um, one of the things that has channeled my freedom in life is my belief in God.
Mm,
And so the Bible says that him whom the Son of Man has set free is what?
it's free.
Is
Free
free
indeed.
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 I am free, right? That's one. The second verse that I don't think a day can go by that I do not quote that verse to myself is everything that pertains to life and to godliness has been given to me freely. Second verse. And so by default, I am free.
You're free.
You understand? So when I sit back and I start picking out the different kinds of freedom, this is what comes. This is something that always helps me. Pseudo freedom, pseudo freedom, pseudo, which means that whatever other form of freedom I am trying to contemplate, it's either a neo freedom, like I am refreedoming, or I am doing some kind of freedom that is not authentic. Because I am free. Now, it will go back to the issue of how your mind works, the renewing of your mind. Yesterday, most of the messages that people sent to me for Easter greetings, it said the stone has been rolled off from the mouth of the tomb and Jesus has resurrected, right? So I sat behind and I thought something. I said, is it because the stone was removed that Jesus resurrected? Or was it because he resurrected that the stone was removed? Because to me
The second one.
that's very important. And I
Yes.
told myself, of course, when Jesus rose, the stone did not have any option but to move. And why did the
Yes.
stone move? Because Jesus was born to die and to rise. So it was in his DNA, it was in his mission to die and rise.
Mm,
And so the stone could not have been an impediment. You understand?
mm,
So
right.
it is with everybody's unfolding or their evolution or their transformation. The window to our transformation and to our unfolding opens from inside. It is bolted from inside. There may be a padlock from outside that somebody will help you open. You understand? But there is a bolt which an individual has access to, which, irrespective of how many locks are broken outside, if you do not pull that bolt, forget it. You will not evolve. So it is the same thing. Our lives, we have been set free. Jesus' mission was to die and to rise, so the stone could not stop him. Just like we have been called, we have been qualified, everything that pertains to life and to godliness has been given to us freely. So it is our right to do what? To evolve. So ignorance stands like that stone at the mouth of the grave of Jesus. That ignorance will naturally have to clear itself. But what does it take? It takes a renewing of your mind. So to me, what is freedom? We are free. The issue now is exercising your freedom. Living your freedom in every aspect, in every facet of your life. Living in freedom. Expressing your freedom by being free. Now, freedom does not mean recklessness. It does not mean stepping on others' toes. Freedom and liberty are two things. You may have freedom, but it may not be at liberty to do something. You understand?
Right.
So, freedom as a word is a thing of the mind. How you exercise it becomes personal. And so it is important to, freedom to me means that you have been given the right. There is a clean slate. You have freedom to design whatever I want to design on it as you choose. That's freedom. And that's why they'll tell you that freedom of speech is not very free, because you are free to talk, right? But you should also be free to take the repercussions of what you say.
Right.
Why is it that? Because you have the power of speech, but then your knowledge, your understanding of the surrounding laws or the surrounding circumstances leads you into how you use that freedom. And to me, I think that is where the problem is. I believe that it is in the manipulation, it is in the orchestration of the freedom, the execution. In this country, we have something called the text of reference. Yes, is it execution text? They'll give out something will come out in the constitution, and it will not be operational until that text comes out. So most of us, we have not taken time to look at the text. What is the text of execution of your freedom? You need to understand that you are free. In fact, you are free to be free. What does freedom do? Freedom takes away the shackles of tradition. It takes away the shackles of it had always been done like this. No, you are a new creation. Everybody who is in Christ is new. And what does newness mean? Newness means that you have only one base. Some people mistake a religion for tradition. No, religion, sorry, they mistake Christianity for a tradition. No, it is religion that is a tradition, because Christianity is being Christ-like. It is not being Jewish-like. It was Jesus in the context of the Jewish tradition. But we realize that even Jesus was killed by the Jews because he was a non-conformist to the Jewish.
He didn't conform.
Yes. So when you are free, you understand that as a Christian, my freedom means that I am trying to be like Christ, because to me he is a model. And so I start looking. It is an uphill task, but it is a journey that we get up every morning and we recommit to do it. And what is my text of reference? It is the Bible. But remember, the Bible says that not everything that happened was documented, which means that things happen through individuals that are not biblical, that you can copy. That is why we read books by other authors. That is why we listen to other speakers. That is why we emulate the lives of others. That is why we
Right.
need coaches and mentors like you are doing. Because you need to see your life in somebody. You need to see your destination in somebody. You need to look and see that somebody is walking your way or has reached where you intend to walk. And you start asking yourself, how did this person get there?
Right.
So rather than being just hard cast and hard focus only on the results that these people make, it is our responsibility to find out, how did they go there? What were the inputs for them to get these outcomes? So if we get back to financial freedom, of course, that is just one of the many different freedoms that you should enjoy.
Right.
Financial independence. And why should a woman be financially independent? Of course, to express herself, to add value to the lives of others. So if you are independent in every way, you are a strong, independent woman. Yes, you can make choices, and you are not financially free. It means you are shortchanging yourself in one aspect. I don't know if I've answered your question adequately.
Very, very well. In fact, you've given me a new perspective, which I will definitely be adopting. Because based on my personal circumstances, I found my freedom through financial freedom. Financial freedom gave me the ability to be everything else, to express myself, like you've just said, to be able to live a purposeful life, to be able to walk in the, in the light of God, I would say, because if you're not hungry, then you're not really tempted to go and steal food or
That's
to
right.
become,
That's
yeah. So if you're able to afford food, then it's likely that you will be respecting the Ten Commandments. If you're able to have, if you're busy doing a business, for example, then you don't have time to gossip, to bear false witness against your neighbor, because you're busy
yeah,
doing your own thing.
yeah,
So for me, I've always looked at it that way, that if you're busy, if you have your financial means, then you can say, okay, at Sunday's church time, I don't need to be working on a Sunday. I'll go to church and praise God, or I'll choose Saturday or Friday or whatever. But most times when people are hungry, that's just what they're looking for. They're working all the time, and in this Western society, people are working every single day for most people, because they need to pay bills. So they don't really have that freedom to do much. So for me, what that baseline, based on my personal experience, but what you said has been very edifying and even more powerful than what I've ever, thought about. That God has already given me that freedom, and
free
I should embrace it, and then build everything else on it.
on it.
uh,
That is it.
yeah, it should be my solid rock, and then start to build my financial, spiritual, physical, mental, educational, all the other freedoms. Build it
Yeah,
on the
arise from
freedom
here.
that, yeah, that was already given to me for free. That's
That is it.
very, very powerful. So, Mommy T, there's a woman watching us right now who would like to start building on the freedom that God has given her, that baseline freedom that we all have from birth. Um, how do you encourage her to go about it? Because I know that, like I said in the beginning of this podcast, you were able to go on the internet and you have been able to learn a skill, which is now which is now forcing you to become a multi-level employer, to employ more people, to support your business growth, and to serve,
Yeah.
your clients? How do you think a woman who is listening can go about it right now?
Oh, beautiful. Yes, I can talk about this all day. First thing, sister, understand that you are beautifully and you are fearfully made. Beautifully and fearfully made, and you resemble God, meaning that you are quite capable of doing everything that your heart desires. And it may sound like much, but it is not much. You are capable. For the fact that you have an urge in you that you want to do something, you are capable. First thing, you are capable. The second thing, you need to plan. What do you want to do? You take an inventory of what you have, because definitely you have something. You just need to add to what you have to be able to get what you really want. So what do you have in your hand currently? What skills do you have? What abilities do you have? What time, what resources do you have in your hands right now as we speak? That's the second thing. When you have taken that inventory, definitely you would realize that there are some things that you still need to add to those that you have. Do you need a mentor? Most often, we choose people whom we cannot access or whom we cannot gain access to. Yes, you may see somebody doing wonderful things on the internet and you are like, oh, I admire what this person is doing. Let me be mentored by this person. It is beautiful, it is doable. But it will be helpful if you see somebody whom you can call, somebody whom you can have a conversation with, somebody who will take his or her time to give you the different lines or the ropes you should follow in order to get to where you want to get to. The fourth thing is that you need to start now. Don't wait for the sweet by and by. You can never be ready. There can never be a perfect timing. The next perfect time is now. And so you should just get on it. Remember, the beginning is going to be messy and you are going to make a lot of errors. A lot of them. But with every error, you are moving an inch towards betterment. And you are yearning towards perfection, even irrespective of how elusive it can be. Of course, when you make your errors, you will reiterate until you move to perfection. If perfection exists, you will just get better. Now, from my personal experience, if you think that you are so desperate, if you think that your case is so bad, I can quote you cases that were worse. The base that you need, some people will say that, oh, I do not have the finances. No. The base or basic thing that you need is for you to find a customer who has or who wants the service or the good that you are offering. And know that your good is value. Once value is valuable, somebody will want to pay for it. It starts with a customer. I live in a society, I live in a community where people are heartbeat on, I do not have any capital. I do not have any money to start. This business needs that. I go open a big shop. I create a website. No, they get into all these things which are really not the basic things. Just start. When I started my first line of business, Delightsome Products, that I used to make or under that line of business, I used to make candies. I used to make peanut butter, and I used to make liquid soap. Delightsome Products, Tasty Delights candies, Tasty Delights peanut butter, and Sparkling Delight washing liquid soap. And I did that from the comfort of my house. My living room, my kitchen were my workshops, were my factories. And I'll get online and I'll post my products and people would request, they'll place orders, and I'll deliver. It wasn't big. And like I just told CV here, when we had a crisis, a political crisis, and we were forced to be home for like 650 days, it was, I mean, I thought that I would lose my mind. I had to go into the old clothes and the pieces and materials that were in the house, and I sorted them out, and I just started trying my hands, trying to do some craft. I mean, because I've always loved craft, that's true. But I sat and I thought, what could I do? I started making bows, hair bows. I made flowers, I made rosettes, I made ribbons, I made many things. And then I got online and I went on Facebook and I saw how people make hats and fascinators. And I learned, I spent hours online learning and perfecting. And I still have a lot of material in the house here, which I consider waste. But those are the indicators of the number of hours that I put in learning. So understand that you will learn, you will make errors, it will look as if you are failing, and then you will learn again. And then you will grow. Now, the other thing is that please always look out of the boundaries of yourself. Just like you can get help from everywhere if you look clearly, so are you the help of somebody else. You cannot live this life on your own. There are people whose lives will never get better until they get to meeting you. And think of what will happen to these people's lives if they eventually get to you and you are empty-handed. God bless you if you have a rich and a supportive partner, husband, however, God bless you. But God forbid, what if this person is taken out of the equation? How would you survive? How would you survive? Irrespective of the legacy or the savings or the what would I say, investments that this person makes in order to keep you comfortable, you can still do more. You could have done more. I mean, there are humanitarian foundations that do things for nations. If they were thinking only about their village or their tribe or their family or if they had put some kind of a cap on the things that they had to do, they would not have gone that far. So, sisters, believe in yourself. Understand that you have a well of potential, whether you are aware of it or not, whether you like it or not, whether you want it or not. God did not send you to this world to come and stroll. He did not create you and then sat back and start wondering, but why did I create Sylvie? Why did I create Mary? No, God had a purpose that was existing, and he decided that, okay, this purpose can be well executed by Mary, can be well executed by Sylvie, can be well executed by Janet or whoever, and he sent you to come and execute it. So nobody came around here to stroll around to check what the others are doing and then start doing what has been kept undone. No, all of us came with a purpose and with a focus. So imagine what is happening on your lane when you do not take up the reins of your life and leave it to the fool. And like I mentioned before, financial independence may just be one, but it is a powerful stream. It is a very, we live in a world where everything everything can be sold and bought, even oxygen. So imagine a world where you cannot buy oxygen and you are sick, you die. And the next person, those who have made enough money, can keep living on artificial oxygen and prolonging their lives. Well, not to become that extreme, but I need you to understand that he who brings in the finances calls the shots. Do you know why? Because that person, especially the people who bring in their own money, they have built confidence over the years. And how did they build confidence? From rising and falling and developing their muscles. So it is not late for you to start something. I know of women who started businesses without their husbands even knowing, and it was out of disrespect and not out of some kind of conspiracy, sorry, because they felt that a day would come where that little thing that they are doing on the side will save the day. And it did not only save the day, it saved their lives when their spouses lost their jobs, or their businesses came into an unfortunate situation, or they actually passed. And how did they gather this money? From their upkeep money from their spouses. They knew that it is always better to multiply the money. I mean, there is no money that does not get finished if it is not multiplied. So it is in the interest of every woman to work to execute their freedom in every light, but especially their financial freedom. Express your financial freedom by thinking of how you can proliferate, how you can multiply, how you can diversify the number of things that you do. And the best thing about women is that we have an inbuilt mechanism to multitask. We are very ingenious, and we are very, very resourceful. We can handle it, we can juggle a lot of things. That is the way God created us. And so rather than limiting ourselves to only some of these things, I mean, let us, to the best of our ability, make use of all the strengths that we have been built with, that are inbuilt in us, to create a life that will be fascinating, to create a life that will, that will look as though it is out of this world. And as a small perk, that man whom you think gives you or is capable of giving you everything that you need, that man is somebody's son. You understand? That man is somebody's brother. That man is somebody's friend. That man is somebody's father. That man, like every other human being, will be happy to receive help sometimes. He may not say it, but try it. He will be happy that you can take care of some of the things or some of the businesses that concerns both of you, that you can take care of yourself, and that you can as well take care of him. Sylvie.
Mommy T, listen. Oh my God. The last things you said, ah, gosh. As a mother of two boys, I always dream of my boys coupling with women who are everything and beyond what you've just said. Because we neglect our men because we forget that they were once our boys. We forget that they needed us, and that they always will, to be honest.
That's it.
The reason why God did not leave Adam here on his own was because he needed his Eve. God knew that for Adam to go all the way to accomplish his mission, the perfect will of God for mankind, he needed his Eve.
Yeah.
And a lot of times when we dump all this pressure on the man, what tends to happen in real life is that they are stressed, they are depressed, they are overworked,
Yeah.
and all those things have repercussions in the quality of the relationships that we have with them, in the quality of the kids that we raise, because we cannot give what we don't have. A father can only be a father to the extent that he has the energy, he has the emotional stability, and the happiness that he feels in his heart. That's what
That's
he's going
it.
to pass down to his kids.
That's
A
exactly.
husband, a husband can only be a husband to the extent that he can give, whether it's material or emotional.
Emotional. Right.
Yes. And so
Right.
if we're not supporting them to extend their happiness, their health,
Mm.
their lifespan. We're shooting ourselves in the foot. Yes,
That's
you
it.
can go on and say that, oh, it's the man's duty. Well, like Mommy T said, bring the blueprint. Yes,
Yeah.
the man is the head of the family. But I don't remember. I mean, that's why the virtuous man was so praised, isn't it? She was
Yep.
sewing cloth for her family. She was
And the
baking bread
husband,
for her
the Bible
family.
says that the husband was at the gate boasting of her, telling the friends that I've got
Oh,
a ring to hold. Yeah. So
that's
this
it.
is blueprints. Where did they get this from? That it is the man's responsibility. It's a
Correct.
partnership. It is a partnership. And when I have the opportunity, I tell single ladies, young ones, that now that you are single is the best time to build and to pursue your purpose. The next best time is when you partner with somebody who cares about himself as much as you care about yourself, and the two of you care for each other. Now is the best time. The next best time is when you partner with somebody who cares about himself as much as you care about yourself, and both of you care for each other. Without which, there is only one best time for you, and it is now. And you have power only for this best time. The next best time, you have only half of the bargaining power. Just half. So which will they use? Which will they use more? Rather than sitting back and mourning, I do not have a husband. I do not have a no, 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 no. This is the best time to build your life. There may be a next best time, there may not be. The probability is 50. So
Right.
it is in our
Oh my God.
hands to decide where we are headed. Just
That's
imagine that
correct.
a young single woman. First of all, the likelihood is that maybe she does not have kids. Definitely, she does not have a husband, and so she calls the shots. She can decide to travel to the North Pole to do business or to further her education. She can interact with whomever she wants to interact when it comes to her social circles or her business circles, or I mean, she can do a whole lot to enlarge her coast before cleaving herself to any other person. But once she is bound, of course, another opinion must be sought.
Mm.
So, whether we like it or not, perfect bonding comes only from perfect singlehood. You must master it on this side. You must master it
Mm.
from this side before you cross to the
Mm.
other side and you continue with the mastery, because then that is that's an upgrade, high definition pro max. Because you are dealing with another human being who has his own whims and caprices. So
Right.
to move from this side and dump everything that you are and you have into the hands of a man, no, it's folly, it's crazy. A human being who is malleable, who can take any form, he can become amorphous at any time, and you dump your entire existence in his hands, there must be something not right somewhere. You see, that's the difference. People who like going to juju houses should rather go and find out why a sister should do that. I mean, it's not normal that all of a sudden you relinquish everything, every power that you have into somebody else's hand, because you say that it is his responsibility and it is your right. I find it strange.
Me too. Me
Yeah,
too.
and before anybody gets it wrong, the other day I told my son that it has been long since I ate somebody's money. So it is not like I don't feel I don't it's not like I don't feel the need. I know that did I say that was a joke? He's telling me that was not a joke. It wasn't a joke. I felt like I need to be, I mean, I just need to be taken care of. I would love to be pampered. I won't be spoiled. It was a genuine feeling. You understand?
Yeah.
So I know where these thoughts are coming from amongst sisters, but that cannot be a way of life.
Right.
If
Spur of
we
the
take
moment
that,
thing acceptable. The way
yeah,
of life, no.
no,
Yeah.
no, 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 no. I mean, everybody loves to be spoiled. Everybody
Yeah.
loves to be pampered. Everybody loves to be taken care of. But you cannot
Right.
become somebody or something else because you just want to relinquish every resourcefulness that you have into the hands of somebody else. Come on, that does not work.
Right. And the thing is,
Doesn't.
sometimes it's not even biologically, or it doesn't work. Even spiritually, it doesn't work because the Bible says that that death, comes like a thief in the night. No one knows the day or the time. That person, when my father left the house, didn't tell my mom that, listen, I'm going to die. Oh." So as
No,
you
it
see
is.
me going like that, that's it. The 7 kids I've had with you, you will have to raise them on your own. He didn't
Good.
say, they didn't, that conversation never happened. He just left and never came back.
And you see, especially with you people in the West, the pressure is real.
It is.
It is palpable. You talk
It
with
is.
somebody on the phone and you can sense the heaviness in their hearts.
Right.
And you have, if a woman is thinking like that, and then the man has the extended family back at home, depending heavily on him, and you are depending heavily on him and your own extended family, because it's not like, of course, if you are
Exactly.
there, you have siblings, you have parents, you have friends. Imagine that you have one source of income that has to span out to all this number of people. Come on, the
Yeah.
pressure on the guy will be too much.
Right.
So if there is any way that a sister can make her man's life better by taking off some of the dependence on the man,
Mm,
it will not only help unburden the man, it will help in her own becoming, which is the best thing. It will help in her evolution. It will help in giving her a better self-image and self-esteem. It will give her a sense of importance, a sense of purpose, and a sense of relevance. You get up in the
mm,
morning and your mind is off the routine or the drudgery of running the house to thinking of how to create new value for somebody.
mm,
It gives you the urge to want to move a step further into a new day. There is something I do every morning. For in order for me to make every day different, when I get up in the morning, I try to do some kind of, like, I am curious on how that day will unfold. I play, it gives me scenes that I play scenes. Like, I try to do some kind of mind scenes. And it's like I have some kind of photographic images of how my day will unfold. And what is that based on? It is based on my participation, my actions. So I can anticipate what a day can bring because, first of all, I am curious. And then when I become curious, I say, okay, for this thing to come to pass, I'm going to do this. I am going to do that. And what does that give? It gives me some kind of an impetus to move into the day with focus. So,
mm.
sis, what can you be thinking? What do you think in the morning? What do you cook for the kids? That's wonderful. But you cook every day.
Thank you so, so, so much for watching. Thank you for listening. If you're listening on the podcast, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to share. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to hit that like button so that more women can come on and watch this amazing episode with Mommy T.
So, what is this sister looking forward to? You're going to shop in a place where somebody with a purpose is executing his purpose, is living his life by starting a business from which you shop. You are going to the spa. To be pampered by somebody whose purpose is being fulfilled by pampering you, that's beautiful. But then what are you giving? You cannot just be giving to your kids, to your brothers and sisters. And I mean, you are shortchanging your life. You are limiting your
Mm,
life. So if we think beyond ourselves, then we will understand that financial freedom is a must. I mean, it comes in the package of freedom. It's in the
mm,
bundle. Yes, it's in the bundle. And it's already paid for. It's not like you pay extra to be financially free. No, if you are free in the mind, if you have freedom of movement, if you have freedom of choice or freedom of speech, you also have financial freedom. So unless you choose to keep it out. But the irony is that financial freedom is a portal to many different kinds of freedoms. That is it, whether we like it or not.
right.
So it is a must. It is not something that we should think of. No, it is a must for several reasons. And any woman who has a foresight will always know that it is better to have something on the side. Whether the days are cloudy, they are rainy, they are snowy, for a day that you cannot see clearly from today.
Mm, wow. Man, man, I'm gonna walk out of this podcast feeling like a superwoman. Like I'm just gonna put on my cape and start flying from the stairs. I'm on the second floor now. Before I out, my children will just see me landing on the last floor, like with the cape on my shoulders. Listen, guys,
You're,
I
you,
have.
you are already soaring. It takes a lot of courage to do what you are doing, Sylvie. It takes some courage to be vulnerable, to let your guard
Mm,
down, and to let your essence flow through you. And
mm,
what most people do not know, especially people who have people who have had very um no, succinct is not the word, who have had very peculiar incidences in their lives. What they do not
mm.
know is that they stand in a place of creating the greatest impact with their stories. You understand?
Oh my God. Oh
They
my God.
had unusual experiences because they are built for supernatural exploits. That is it.
Mm,
That is why they survived the things that they survived. But they are rather too ashamed or too embarrassed by the things that they have gone through. And what do? They slide it under the carpet. And
mm.
those who were supposed to learn from it, what is happening to their lives? You see, but with everything that you've had to go through as a young girl, even up to now, it has built you to the person whom you are today. And you do not have any
Absolutely.
regret sharing your story, sharing your journey, and showing your
Right.
products. Yeah, this is who you are becoming because you had to go through this. That way, other people do not get stuck in what is holding them currently.
Right.
And that,
Gosh.
to me, that I believe that is my life's journey. That is my life's focus. That's my life purpose at this point. Everybody must not go through the same dark channels. No.
Mm,
People who have ears. That is why we had prophets, right? That's why we had prophets who foretold the future.
mm.
They may not have told you that, okay, if you go up the mountain and you spread your hands, no. They'll just tell you that there is no need going up the mountain. Just go around this way. You
Right.
don't need to go around the mountain for 40 years. No, 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 no. There is a shortcut this way.
Right.
That is it.
That's that's what Pastor preached yesterday. He said when the John and Peter, despite their relationship with Jesus, went to the tomb, they saw the cloth, the linen. But Mary, who had seven demons in her, and Pastor was just saying that the reason why Mary had those seven demons that tormented her was because there was something big in her.
In her.
And once Jesus set her free from those demons, She was the very first woman who went to preach the resurrection. She
That is it.
organized the service. She had an anointing, and the devil saw it and the devil attacked it. And you said something so powerful about taking our mess and
Into
really
a powerful
dusting off
message.
all the dust. Yes,
Mm,
take the dust off it. I mean, gold. How do we get gold? How do we encounter gold?
mm.
Digging
By
and digging and
refining,
digging.
processing. You see,
Yes,
oh boy, knowledge strips us of a lot of filth, and you start looking for meaning in the mess. That is what knowledge does.
right.
When you understand that what you went through was not peculiar, it wasn't permanent, and it wasn't personal. It wasn't for you. It only came through you.
That's it.
Then you are
That's
going
it.
to open up your pores for life to come through you. You would.
Um,
If God
oh
so
my God.
loved the world that He gave Jesus, and God loves you, what came through you could not have been to kill you. It was meant to prepare you for your mission. That is it. Because you keep asking yourself, okay, God loves me. Why did this happen to me? Why did I lose this? Why did I get this? Why did this person do this? The answer is simple. It wasn't meant for you. The arrows were not shot at you. It was to come through you. You are feeling the pinch because you held the arrows. You did not allow it to go through you. That is why you are stuck. Yes, you are taking it personal, and
Oh
you
my
have you.
God.
See, I learned a lot of things the hard way. You are considering that person, whoever. I mean, I'm talking to somebody now. Whoever is going through a situation and does not allow that thing to go through to learn from it, you have apportioned that thing to yourself. You've taken ownership of it, and it is boiling in you, and it is killing you. Why? Because you don't want to let it go. You don't want to learn the lessons and let it pass for somebody else to learn. You cannot take ownership of it. It wasn't coming to you. It only had to come through you. So let it go. Learn the lessons and grow thereby. That is what I learned in my own life. Because I sat and asked myself, I said, and it's unfortunate. The other day I heard my little niece, she's 20. She said, it does not pay to be a good girl. I know why she made that statement. And it just came, it was like a revelation to me, because I had thought that way. And it has not been long that I stopped thinking that way. You understand? Like, it does not pay to be a good girl. Just be. You understand? But then when I think that, okay, being a good girl, when I went through the things that I went through, I kept those things to myself for a long time. I owned them, and they kept hurting me. The arrows kept piercing me because I refused to study those things, reflect on them, and see that no, I was only an emissary for that message. I was sent. I was carrying the message for somebody else. It wasn't meant for me. But the good thing is that value cannot come through you if it does not first of all change you. You
Mm,
internalize it. Yes. And that is the bonus. The bonus for being an emissary is that you are the primary beneficiary. It's like you are passing water through a dry hose pipe. It has to wet itself first before the water comes
mm,
through. So, as women, some of us are battered by our stories, by our past, by the experiences that we've gone through. Yes, it is true that some of us, we choose the experiences. Some of the experiences actually choose us. But however you
mm.
got yourself at that intersection with those experiences, it really does not matter. It becomes irrelevant. What is relevant is that the experiences are there. What do you do with it? What do you do with them? And it can only make you a better person. If it doesn't make you a better person, if it makes you a bitter person, then of course you have been overcome by those challenges and you lose out, and the rest of the world loses with you. And this story that this this Bible verse that says that if you cause another person to sin, right, it is on your head. It is on your head, including this one that you refuse to allow your evolution to come through, to allow your evolution to bring a revolution to others. So it is a rough road until you accept and relent, and you give. I mean, you give up on the resistance and said, okay, I am a vessel, Lord, use me. You are a vessel of honor, Lord, use me. And then everything comes through you. And the world becomes a better place. Because
Wow.
come to think of it, when women are financially free, they don't bring their money to you. Do they bring their money to you? Do they bring their checks to you? You have other ways of making money without necessarily coaching women to gain financial freedom. So the bit that you are doing, of course, is allowing that which came through you to get to them. It is not about what
Right.
they give you, because you could sell peanuts and you make money. You could sell water
That's
and you
true.
make money. You understand? But if you
Yep.
create value,
Yes.
if you create value to make the lives of others better, it is because it is a mandate, it is a calling, it is a commission, and you
Mm.
have been to serve as a channel for that.
Mm.
That is it.
Wow. So what we've just said in the last part of this podcast would definitely be a video of its own, because every single woman who is holding on to their arrow needs to hear this message
Yeah.
and let go, so that
Yes,
they
please, they
can
should.
experience God's perfect will for their life. It's not to
Yeah,
hold on
they'll
to
be
that arrow.
healed. Oh,
Yeah,
it's unfortunate.
to let
Many
go of it.
women, many beautiful sisters are holding on to hurts,
Mm.
and it keeps piercing them.
Mm.
They're still feeling the pain. They are
Right.
bleeding. They are losing essence. They are losing time.
Mm. Wow, 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 wow. Very powerful, Mommy T. Really very, very, very powerful. I mean, I've enjoyed this podcast. We're hitting 2 hours soon. It's been
Right.
transfer. I
Seriously.
haven't even felt like I haven't even felt the time pass by, because it's been so empowering, so educative, so inspiring. I mean, gosh, I'm gonna have a lot of golden nuggets to pick out of this conversation that the women who are listening right now can just consume in bits. You know how it is when you read something, but you haven't, it doesn't, like they say, you go through school, but school doesn't go through you. I
Yeah.
want this message to really go through these women, should go through them. So I'm
Yes.
gonna make
Yes.
it very consumable so they can consume it in bite size and experience it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mommy T, for your time, for sharing your experiences, for sharing your wisdom with us. It's been phenomenal, and you never disappoint. Honestly, you never do.
It's my pleasure. I mean, I
It's
am glad to be
yeah,
here. I am glad to be here,
yeah.
and I'll always be here, Sylvie. Anytime you think you need us to have a conversation which will push forward the agenda of helping people live their lives better, helping individuals to self actualize. I mean, we've gone beyond
Mm,
just having, having, doing. No, 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 no. We have to become. We have to become. It's a journey.
yes.
If we become, then we can do and we can have. But we had it wrong. We had it in reverse. That is why some of us
Mm,
struggle. Because the idea is, what do you have? What kind of car do you drive? What kind of
mm,
house do you live in? How many kids do
mm,
you have? How many holidays have you had?
mm,
Or what do? You are a medical doctor, you are a banker, you are a lawyer, you are a teacher, you are a reverend, you are a seamstress, you are a hairdresser. No, all those we have altered the order. We've left from having to doing. We should rather become. That is the ultimate. When we become and we start doing, then we are going to have everything that we need. And the vice of materialism would lose its hold on us. And once that grip loosens, then we can live life. We can breathe. I mean, being alive is a gift. And understanding and living consciously, it's a better gift. Yes. That is where you doing anything or having anything stems from. Just be. Actualize. So whether woman, man, the young people with whom you have conversations, who may have the privilege of watching this, just be. Find out who you are, how you can be a better person. Don't be in a hurry to have. Everybody can have, not everybody can become. If somebody gifts you $100 million today, it is yours, you have it. But what you do with it will be based on who you are. So, yes. And who you are is already is. It is your responsibility to study it, to know it, to live it, to enjoy it. So I am very happy that you brought me up here. It's been a beautiful conversation, like I knew it would be. Yes, but I did not know that we would put in this much time, though. But it's been beautiful, and I am grateful as usual. And I pray that the people who listen to this, please don't just listen to it. Understand that you are free, and as much as possible, some of the practical tips that we have shared, put them to use.
Yeah.
And also that there is a season. Yeah, there is a season for everything. Life unfolds in stages. You may not have what I have now. You may be 20 years younger than myself, 30 years, 10 years. Understand that at every level of your unfolding, you are the one to place your barem, place your yardstick of how you measure your progress or your success. Set targets and strike them based on what you know. But then never keep learning. Let your mind be perpetually renewed. Question things that you do not understand. Do research. Find out what dictates your values and your beliefs. What are they based on? Are they based on things that work for you? Were they inherited? Were they forced down your throat? Question those things. Ask questions. Be curious. And whatever you do, stay in perpetual action. Stay in perpetual action.
Wow. All right, ladies, you've heard Mommy T has concluded the podcast. I ain't got nothing more to say. God bless you, Mommy T. God bless you, every listener. Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast. If you're listening on Spotify, please drop a comment. What do you think? If you're watching on YouTube, what do you think? We want to hear from you. I'll drop all of Mommy T's details in the comment section. You can reach out to her for some mentorship. and be empowered and transformed forever so that you can indeed walk or live in God's perfect will for your life. That's my
Amen.
takeaway. Thank you so much, Mommy T. God bless you abundantly.
And bless you too, baby. Thank you so much. My regards to the rest of the
Thank
family,
you.
and have a wonderful,
They
wonderful
will
Monday.
hear.
Beautiful.
They will hear. Thank you, Mommy T.